Here we want to graph the following function, g of x, which is equal to 2x squared. Before we use the graphing tool, we're going to graph this on paper here or on your notebook. So we have g of x, which is equal to 2x squared. So we're going to first create a column that represents x, which is our input, and then we have our g of x, which is equal to 2x squared, and then we have our ordered pair, which is x comma g of x. Remember that g of x is the same as that y coordinate. So let's pick some values for x. So we want to always pick a negative value, a 0, and then also a positive values. So let's go ahead and pick -3. Let's see what happens when we pick -3. So if we plug -3 in for x, so we have g of -3, and then we're going to plug it in. So this is g, or 2 times -3 squared. Well, -3 squared is positive 9, and times 2 is going to give us positive 18. So therefore, this ordered pair is going to be -3, comma 18. Okay, let's go ahead and pick another value that's negative here. So let's say -1. So we're going to put in g of -1, and so therefore this is 2 times -1 squared. So -1 squared is positive 1 times 2 is positive 2. So therefore we have -1 and then positive 2. Okay, now let's choose 0. We're going to plug in g of 0. So that's equal to 2 times 0 squared. Well, 0 squared is 0 times 2 is going to give us 0. So we know it's going to be 0, comma 0. Let's put in positive 1. So g of 1, which is going to equal 2 times 1 squared. Well, 1 squared is positive 1 times 2 is going to give us positive 2. So therefore that's 1, comma 2. And let's go ahead and put in positive 3. So if we have g of 3, that's going to equal 2 times 3 squared. And then 3 squared is 9 times 2 is positive 18. So we get 3, comma 18. Okay. Now let's go ahead and plot these points just so we can see what this graph is going to look like. So the first point that we're going to plot is this 0, 0. Okay. And then the next point we can plot is the -3 and then positive 18. So we move over 1, 2, 3 and then go up to positive 18. So therefore that represents -3, comma positive 18. Okay, the next ordered pair is -1 and then positive 2. So we go over -1 and then up 2. So therefore that's -1, comma positive 2. We already know that this is 0, 0. The next ordered pair is 1 and then positive 2. So there's 1, positive 2. And then we have 3 and then positive 18. So here is 3 and then positive 18. So now what we want to do is we want to be able to graph this. So when we graph this, we're going to graph a parabola function. And so this graph is going to be the following. We have g of x, which is equal to 2x squared. Now remember, this 2 tells us that we're going to have a vertical stretch by a factor of 2. And this is going to allow us to then graph this on our graph here. So we're going to click to enlarge the graph, and then we're going to use this tool. Right? So you have a point that we're going to select, and so we're going to select 0, 0. So that's where you can see up here how the points are plotted. And then we have a vertical stretch. So we got to put that vertical factor of 2 here. Okay, and then let's go ahead and select save. Now, if you take a look at this graph, you're going to see the following. It goes through 0, 0, it goes to 1, 2, and then, negative 1, 2, and then negative 3 all the way 18. So that verifies our points. So let's check our answer, and there is our result.